Hello, lovely people. Welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. Thank you for clicking on this video. In this video, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful one shoulder of bubu. It's a combination of lace and Ankara. It is really stylish. And you see, it has this strap that goes all the way from the hem of the gown and slants all the way to the shoulder line. So, and it's giving it this cold shoulder effect on this side. You can see the neckline. It's an asymmetric neckline, so which is also called a one shoulder off neckline. This bubu is really simple to make and very beautiful. I hope this is something you are interested in learning. Please make sure to keep on watching till the end. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe and ensure to put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thank you, and let's get right into the video. These are the materials we'll be using for this project. This is an Ankara fabric. We'll be combining it with this sample lace fabric. You may decide to use just your Ankara fabric for this project, but I'm going to be using Ankara and lace together. So here on the table, I have my satin already folded, which I'll be drafting on because it will serve as the lining. Okay, so now let me explain to us how I folded my fabric because we're going to be drafting the front and back together. So let's use this paper to illustrate. So let's assume that I have my yardage. This is the yardage side and this is the length side. So now the measurement needed to achieve the folding or to determine the folding is the measurement from the center back to the desired sleeve length. So the way to take the measurement will appear on your screen. So having seen how to take the measurement for my client from her center back to the desired sleeve length is around 18.5 inches. So here on my table, I have 19 inches. That's plus half inch because I'll be joining a band to it. So I have 19 inches. So this is what I went ahead to do. Like I said, let's assume that this is the yardage. Then I folded like this into two, and then I folded this way into four. So this is what I did. So I'm folding into four so that we have the front and back together. So this part that is open will serve as the side, and this part that is closed will serve as the center front and the center back. And then here I will have the length of 19 inches. It's a cut together with sleeve, so it's a continuous sleeve. So you need the half of your shoulder measurement plus the sleeve length that's in width. So this is it. But in a situation where you are working with Ankara fabric, you cannot fold your fabric the same way I folded, except if the person is short, because Ankara comes in 45 inches in length. So it will not be enough to give you the full length of the gown if you fold it exactly the way I've shown us. So if you're working with an Ankara fabric now, this is it. So now, the same way I said that this is the yardage area, okay? So for Ankara, depending on the length of the person, if the person's length is, let's say, 60, for instance, so I said that this is the yardage. So first, you're going to measure your 60 inches. So once you have 60 inches like this, you're going to fold this way. So that means you now have 60 here. This one is 60 and this one is 60. That means you have 120 inches. Then next, you're going to fold this way. Can you see what I'm doing? You now fold into four. So this way, you will now have that 19 inches I'm talking about, which is the shoulder measurement plus the desired sleeve length. That's when you are working with an Ankara fabric, okay? So for me, I'm working with satin. Satin has a long length already, so I don't need to do this. And I'm going to be combining lace and Ankara. I hope this is clear. So I haven't explained how to take our measurements. So the next thing we're going to do is to start entering our measurement. So the measurements needed to achieve this bubu is just the length of the bubu. And here I'm working with the length 59 plus my hemming allowance of 2 inches. So that will give me 61 bust measurement. Here the bust measurement I'm working with is 36 inches, and you need the hip measurement. The hip measurement I'm working with is 38 inches. So these are the measurements needed. I already talked about the measurement from the center back to the desired sleeve length, and that gave me 18.5. So plus half inch, that gave me 19 inches. So I hope we're clear with that. So first here I'm going to draw the starting line, which will serve as the shoulder line. So here on the shoulder line, let's do this. Now, half of the shoulder measurement, that's the shoulder measurement of my client divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll mark 8 inches. So can you see? Having marked 8 inches, from here, what I have left here is now the sleeve length of my client. And you can see that I have 11 inches. Okay, so I'll come here to the neckline, still on the shoulder line, right? I'll come here to the shoulder line and mark the neck width I'm working with. I'll be working with a neck width of 3.5 inches. So I'll mark 3.5 here. I'll come here at the end of my fabric and come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slant. So this is our 1.5 inches, and then I'll connect it to the neck width. So now we have the shoulder slant. So from the shoulder line, I will come down by the bust point. The bust point, that's from shoulder to bust point of my client, is 11 inches. So I'll mark here on 11 inches. So this is 11 inches. Next, from shoulder to hip line is 24 inches. So I'll mark here on 24 inches. Next is the full length of the gown, which I said is 59 inches. And then what I have there left is going to just be for my turning allowance. Okay, so now that we have done this, so this is the bust line and this is the hip line. Here on the bust line, I'm going to enter her bust measurement divided by 4. I said I'm working with bust 36, so bust 36 divided by 4, that's 9 inches. I'm going to add 3 inches to this measurement. This depends on how free you want this bubu to be, so I'm adding 3 inches in this case. So having added 3 inches, then next I'm going to come to the hip line. The hip divided by 4 is 9.5. I will also add the same 3 inches. So I'm going to measure what I have here. Here, what I have here is 12.5 in total. I'm just going to take it down to the hem of the gown. So this is it. So I'll bring in my straight ruler and connect the points. So now I just thought of something, because this 12.5 from the measurements, it's obvious that my client is on the slim side. So in order for it to make it easy for her to be able to walk, instead of leaving this 12.5 here, I'll just add 1 inch to that. So that will give me 13.5. If I were the one, that's because I'm a plus size. My hip measurement, I'll just take it down here straight. So if you're a plus size, just take your hip measurement down to the hemline. But this woman is on the slim side. So this is to allow her free movement. So I'll add 1 inch to that. So that will now be 13.5 inches. So I'm going to connect from this point to this point like this. And then I'll connect like this. And then I will also connect it like this. Okay, so now that we have done this, so this is going to be the sleeve opening. So I'm going to measure from the shoulder slant here. So what I have here from the shoulder slant to this point, which is the bust point, I have 10 inches, which is enough for her sleeve opening. So I don't want to make this bigger, so that's fine. So at this point, I will go in by 1 inch. When you go in by 1 inch, it gives it that balance, because this is the shoulder. The shoulder, when the shoulder drops, it is usually going to, if you don't take out this 1 inch, it will look shorter than this side. This side will drop more. So to avoid that, go in by 1 inch. And then I'm going to connect like this. And you see? So this is it now. Okay? So next we're going to mark the neckline. So I'm using, remember that we have it's one shoulder off. And I already said that the neck width I'm using is 3.5 inches. So the neck depth I'll be working with a neck depth of 4 inches. So and then I'm going to mark it like this. So this is our neckline for now. So I'll come back to the shoulder line here, and then I'll mark ½ inch. This is for joining the front and back shoulders together. So now that we have done all this, so before I go ahead and create the curve we're going to have at the underarm here, remember I am going to be combining lace and Ankara fabric together. So there's going to be a joining in front. I'm going to have a joining in front. So I actually need 1 inch that we'll be using to join them together, because we'll use ½ inch to sew the Ankara and the lace together. So that's ½ inch on both sides. That's 1 inch. So now I'm going to come out by 1 inch. Please listen carefully to what I'm saying. So this is 1 inch here. 1 inch, 1 inch. Okay, so can you see? But the front is the front that has this allowance. This front is the only one with this allowance. The back does not have this allowance. I remember we're drafting both the front and back together, so we're going to separate them and take care of the front alone. So now at this point, this is to give it that curve. We're not supposed to leave it sharp like that. So I'm just going to come here and place my tape diagonally and come out by 1 inch to create a curve around here. So I'll just use my armhole curve and curve it like this. You see? So it just gives us that curve. At this point, I will repeat the same thing because we have two now. This is for the front and the other one is for the back. I'm also going to come out by 1 inch and curve it this way. So this is it. So now we'll go ahead and cut out our piece. We'll not be cutting the neckline yet because the neckline is going to be one shoulder off. So let's leave this for now and cut out the actual piece. So I'll be cutting here in front so that we can separate the front from the back before we cut the back out. So we'll start with the shoulder slant. This is it. So now I'm going to separate the front from the back. Take out. The one I took out is the front. So the one underneath now, or the one I'm leaving on the table, is the back, so that we can now cut out the shape. That's the actual measurement we are working with. Now, this is it. Okay, so this is now our back and this is the front. So I'm going to keep the back aside first. Remember, we have not cut the neckline yet. So this is the front now. I'm going to open it up like this because it's going to be slanted. The lace is not just straight, it's going to be slanted. So I'm going to mark it out and then we'll cut it and join it back, of course, with the Ankara and the lace fabric. Then I'll show us how we create the neckline. So here my fabric is opened up on the table, that's the front piece. And you can see that here is the crease line, which is the center front. From the center front here, I will come out by 6 inches. So I'll mark 6 inches on this side. So can you see I came now? I'm coming towards the left now on this side. Okay. So now at the center front here at the down part, I will go in by the same 6 inches. Can you see? On this side, I came out by 6 inches. On this side, I went in by 6 inches. So I'm going to use my ruler to connect the points. So my ruler cannot get to that point. It's not as long as that. So I'm just going to gently connect like this. Okay, so can you see? I hope we can see the chalk mark. So this is the essence of that extra 1 inch I added because we're going to slash this open and then we'll join it together. So ½ inch on this side, ½ inch on that side. So of course the 1 inch is gone. So now I'll go ahead and cut out this shape that I have here, this line I've drawn here. So we have one on this side and then one on this side. So this side is going to be the lace. Let's label this L, and then A, Ankara. So I'll place this on my Ankara fabric and cut out Ankara. I'll cut out lace for this one and then I'll show us the next thing to do. I've cut out the lace. This is the lace part and you can see my satin under it, and then this is the Ankara part. You can see this is it now. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll take this to my sewing machine and go join them together. I'll join them together. But this is it so that I don't have to leave any roughness inside. Now this is the one that is the lace. You can see the satin is under it like this. So I'm going to place the Ankara. This is our Ankara. This is how it's supposed to be. Can you see? This is how it's supposed to be, like this. So that at the end of the day, we now have our full front. So I'll place the Ankara over the lace part like this because we're going to join them together. I'll place the Ankara over it like this. I'll place it like this. So now the lining, that is the satin now, I will have to place it under this part. That's now lining and lining will stay together here. Ankara and the lace fabric will be on top so that by the time I'm done sewing, I will have it neatly finished. I don't want to just do direct joining. Can you see what I did? So now the satin is under the satin here. Can you see? They are together here. So, and then the Ankara is on the right side. That's the Ankara is on top of the lace. So I'll go stitch all 4 of them together and bring it back and show us. And I'm done joining them together. Can you see? So now let's open it up. You see? So now by opening it up, can you see what it looks like on the right, on the wrong side here? That's on the reverse side. Very neat. So my stitch is in between the lining and the Ankara fabric. So you don't want to do this towards the lace side. That's if you are using lace like I'm using. So don't do it towards the lace because the lace is transparent. But Ankara is not transparent. So you want to hide your rough seams in between the Ankara here. So I'm going to bring in my iron and give it a good press. Then we'll create our neckline. This is what we have after pressing it. Can you see? It's already coming out really beautiful. So the next thing I'm going to do now let me talk about the mistake that happened here. I remember I added 1 inch in front because of my joining allowance. I didn't remember to add it at the sleeve opening here. So you also need to do that. It needs to be at the sleeve opening here. So by joining it all the way to this point, that means I have lost that 1 inch, okay, around this side. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll have to take out 1 inch from the back so that they are equal. Let's fold this into two so that we understand what I'm trying to say. So the 1 inch I added for the front because of the joining allowance, I was supposed to also add it on the sleeve opening that's at this part, at the sleeve length, okay? So you can see now that I folded them into two. And you see the back is underneath. Can you see that there's a difference here? So I have a shortage. So I'm just going to make sure that everything is equal. You see, it's not even up to that 1 inch, just a little less. Let me just cut everything so that they are all equal. So this is me basically reducing it by 1 inch. So by the time we place our satin at the tip here, it will make up the length that we want. So this didn't affect anything. So next I'm going to create the neckline. So I'll bring in the back piece now. You need to identify the part that has the off shoulder and the part that has the full shoulder measurement. Okay, so this is the right side now. So this is my satin now. I'm assuming that right side of the satin is facing right side of my fabric. Please take note of that. Right side of the satin is facing right side of the fabric. So that's what it's going to be. Okay, so I'll place it. So exactly what I have on the satin is what I would do on the Ankara. You can see that the back piece is full. It's full. So whatever it is I'm doing on this satin is exactly what we're going to do on our Ankara. I'm using the Ankara, the satin, so that we can see our markings. Right side facing right side of the front piece. Now this is the side that is going to have the off shoulder. That's the one shoulder off. This is the left side that's going to have the one shoulder off. So this side is going to be full. So this is what I'm going to do. So let's mark the neckline. Remember, I used the neck width of 3 inches and 3.5 inches. So I'll mark the same 3.5 inches on this side. And then let's take note of the depth. The neck depth is 4 inches. So I'm just going to bring in my armhole curve and curve the neckline to meet here. Okay, so this is what our neckline should have been if we were making just a normal round neck. So now that we want a one shoulder off, so this is the center back or center front. This is the middle. You can see my crease line is showing. So from this center, I'm going to mark half of the shoulder measurement. Now, can you see what I'm doing? From this middle now, I'm marking half of the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement of my client is 16 inches. Half of it is 8. So this is where 8 stops. So I don't want this to be so off so that it doesn't, that I don't want to completely go off the shoulder. So from these 8 inches, I will come in by 1 inch. So that's 7 inches. I hope we understand that. So that's 7 inches at this point. So I'll bring in my armhole curve and connect to this 7 inches. So now from this point, now from the midpoint of the neckline, I'm just going to bring it to this 7 inches mark I have here. Can you see? So this is it. So one shoulder will be off while the other shoulder will be intact. So now this is what our neckline is going to look like. So you can see this side is wider than this side. So one side is off. So the next thing now we're going to take note of is the strap that we have. If you notice the strap was exactly on top of the shoulder. Okay, it's exactly on top of the shoulder. Now I'm going to come here from the neck width. Take note that this is the initial neck width here. Can you see? So from this neck width, take note of what I'm doing. Can you see that this is the initial neckline? So this is the neck width. So from this neck width, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches. You see? 1.5 inches. At my 1.5 inches, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the length we have here. This part is longer than this side. So I'm going to measure it from the shoulder thick here. I'm going to measure what I have here. So can you see that from here to here, I have 3.5. This is so that you know the length of your strap that will sit on the shoulder. 3.5. So we're going to have the same 3.5 because everything we're doing the same thing for the front and the back. Okay, so I have 3.5 here. Definitely, I'll have 3.5 on the front side too. So that's a total of 7 inches. So we're going to make sure to keep down this measurement so that we don't forget. So now I'll go ahead and cut out. So this is it. So this is what our neckline looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut the like a facing that we're going to have in front. If you notice from the picture, you'll notice that there's a black facing in front of the outfit. So I'll bring in my satin and cut a facing. We're going to have it for both the front and back. I have my leftover satin and this is it. So you can see I folded it into two because we're cutting for both the front and back at the same time. So I'm going to place the outfit on it. Can you see? This is our front piece. And then I'm going to cut out this neck shape I have here. So having cut out the neckline, the next thing I'm going to do now is to measure the length of the facing. And I'm going to be using a length of 3 inches. That's including my sewing allowance. So by the time I'm done sewing, I'll just have 2 inches sitting around the neckline. Around the neckline. So I'll mark 3 inches round like this. So this is what we have now. So I'm going to have the facing sitting on the outfit, that's the front piece like this, and then one will sit on the back piece also. So for the back piece, remember I said is Ankara. So I'm just going to place this satin on the Ankara fabric and trace out, that's cut out in the neckline. And then I'll cut the long strip that we're going to be using to create the cold shoulder with effect we'll have on the shoulder. And I'll come back and show us the next thing to do. Cutting out the long strip. And here, this is what I have. You can see it's on fold. So on fold is 2 inches I cut. Remember the measurement I took here on the neckline. The width of the strap is going to be 1.5 inches. So you can see that I cut 2 inches so that by the time I stitch on half inch and turn it out, I'll be left with my 1.5, which is what is going to be here on the neckline. Quite long, it's longer than I need. I will trim out the excess when we are done. So now for this facing that I have here in front, you can see for the two of them, I folded the down part in by half inch and I gave it a very nice press and it's sitting really well. Okay, can you see? I'm going to have this on the front neckline and I'll have this one on the back neckline. So this is what we are going to do. For the front, I'm going to place the facing on the right side because my outfit already has a lining. So I'm going to place the facing, right side of the facing, facing the wrong side of the gown from inside. And then I will stitch. Let me pin it so that we can see what we have. You see? So I'm going to stitch on half inch this way. So once I'm done stitching, of course, I'm going to notch the neckline, notch all the cuffs, and then bring it this way. So when I bring it out to the right side, I will top stitch it. That's it for the front. For the back, I'm going to do the same thing. But for the back, I won't be using it to turn the back because the back has its own full lining. For this one, you can see that lining has a joining, so there's no, you won't be able to, I'll need to use the lining of the back to turn the shoulders. So for the back, all I'm going to do is just to place the black facing also on it like this. And then I will just top stitch it here at the down part. I won't be using it to turn the neckline. I'll be using my lining to turn the neckline. I hope we understand that. So if you're not working with lining, that means you have to do what I'm talking about. You have to turn it and turn it inside out, okay? For me, I'm working with a lining, so there's no need to turn the back neckline. I'll be doing that for the front, but for the back, I'll just top stitch it because I have a lining I'll be using to turn it. So I'll go do all this and stitch the strap we're going to have on the outfit and come back and show us the next thing to do. Okay, so here is our strip that I already stitched and I went ahead to turn it inside out and I pressed it. So the part with the stitch, that's the part I stitched, I folded it in, that this is the part on the wrong side. So I didn't just iron it flat, I brought this side to the middle. So that's the part that will lay on the body of my client. So this part is without any stitching line. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So this is quite long. Can you see? Very long. So I'm going to place it like this, following the shape I have here. It's going to follow this slanted line like this. Can you see? So, and then we'll have it going over the shoulder like this. So I'm going to use my safety pins to secure it. You see? So this is all I'm going to have on the gown. So, and see, this is the how it is here. So remember that when I took that measurement for the neckline, that's when I measured the neck width and I took the measurement here, I got 3.5. So I'm going to reconfirm that 3.5 now. So this is where my 3.5 is. So we'll fold. Can you see? We'll fold it like this. You see? So we'll fold it like this. So I'm going to have it sit on the neckline too. So this point, let's just mark the point now that I've folded, because this is how the shoulder is going to be. You see, the back is underneath it, and I have not turned the neckline of the back. Remember, I said I have a lining for it. So you just want to fold it like this. So we'll have this one sitting on the shoulder like this. So for me, you can see that the space is quite small because the neckline is high. So if you want it to be wider than this, you use a wider neckline. For my client who doesn't want her shoulder to show too much, that's why I even reduced the shoulder measurement by 1 inch and used 7 inches. So with that being said, this is the point where we'll go into the back. So I'm going to mark that point using my chalk. I'll mark the point here using my chalk. This is it here. Can you see? So now that I've marked the point, I'll now bring in the back piece. So this is our back piece. So remember that the back piece, I've not turned the neckline yet. So you want to make sure that the facing, this black facing, they are both aligned, because so that when we finish joining the shoulders together, you don't want one half inch away from the other. You want to make sure that they are all aligned. So I'm going to fold the strip again. Remember, I already have a mark that I created. So this is the mark here. So now this is my excess fabric. And you see the mark I have here? So I'm just going to mark it this way because it's the neckline. So I'll just curve it this way. Like this, can you see? So now I'll add my extra half inch that I'll be using to sew it. So this is half inch now. Can you see? So I came down by extra half inch. So I'll place this on the neckline here, on the back neckline. Just watch carefully, you understand what I'm doing. So I'll place it on the back neckline here. So I'll place it on the back neckline here because we're going to have it like this, sitting on the shoulder. You see? So this is it here. So I'll also pin like this. You see what I have here? You see? So this is what we want to have here. So this is just the small part of the shoulder that will be showing. So I'll pin at this point. So I'll pin it at this point. So now let's turn the fabric this way. These are right side, that's the front piece. So now that we already have this mark here, can you see? So now I can now turn it right side of the satin, facing right side of the fabric, and pin it like this. Take note that the point where I marked, this point where I marked, you don't want to shift from that point. If not, the strap will be longer than the shoulder. That's it will be hanging on the shoulder. It will not lap properly. So we want to make sure to follow the shape well, like this. So I'll just pin it down. You see? So I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch it. So after stitching it, I will bring in the lining. The lining. I'll use the lining now. This is my lining here. I'll place the lining like this, right side of the lining facing right side of the fabric like this. And then I'm going to stitch the neckline round. I'll stitch the neckline round and then I'll come back and show us what we have before we join the shoulders together. Okay. So I'm done fixing the strap to the neckline and this is what we have. Can you see? The strap is sitting very, very well. So now, if you take a close look, you will notice that after fixing the strap, you notice that this side of our fabric is higher than the strap. It is even obvious. And you see it's half inch higher. If they are on the same level, is going to give you issues. It will not balance. That means by the time you join the shoulders together, this one will now become longer and to be hanging. So you don't want to have that issue. Okay. So just make sure that when you fix it, you have your half inch that you're using to join the shoulders. So now I'm going to place the shoulder. This is the lining side, this is the lining. So lining will face lining like this, and then I will turn the fabric. Fabric will now have to face fabric like this. You see? I'll bring it to the right side now. Fabric facing fabric. And then I'm going to stitch on half inch, which is my shoulder seam allowance. So I'll stitch on half inch. Just hold it like this. Make sure that everything is well kept, and then I'll stitch on half inch this way. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Now I went ahead to cut out this strip that we're going to be attaching like a band to the sleeve, and the strip unfolds. The length is 2 inches, so by the time I stitch it to the sleeve opening, I'm going to be left with 1.5. So this is it here. The length is longer than the width is wider than the opening of the sleeve. So when I'm done, I can trim out my excess. So I'll be stitching it to the down part of the sleeve like this. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. After doing that, I'll weave it and stitch on half inch. That's just join the sides on half inch. The freer the better. Remember, I added 3 inches for my sewing allowance. I'll just be stitching on half inch so that this boo is free on her body. Okay, and then I'll come back and show us what we have. Okay, so this is what our gown looks like after shaping the sides. Can you see how the band is here? It came out really beautiful. This is it on this side. I also went ahead to put the band on at the hem. Can you see? And then I wove it. Just make sure that your work is very neat. I went ahead to just create a slit at the side. How did I create the slit? My sewing allowance. I stitched and stopped 11 inches before the hem, and that's it. So then I wove it, and all I did was to just fold the side seam allowance in. Can you see? And then I top stitched it. So this is my thread showing here on the right side. So I have slits on both sides, and the slit is 11 inches. This is it. So I went ahead to fix a pocket to this gown. So if you don't know how to create a pocket, I've done a detailed video on how to create a pocket, and it is up on my YouTube channel. I'll be dropping the link in the description box. So here we also have a pocket. So it's really beautiful. I'm going to wear this on the mannequin so that we can see the final outcome. Okay, so here we are. This is what our gown looks like. And you see how beautiful it came out. Very, very beautiful. The neckline is sitting perfectly well. The strap on the shoulder is sitting very well. I didn't pin this outfit. Everything is just so perfect on the mannequin. So you can imagine how it will be on the client. Can see the cold shoulder effect. Can see how the one shoulder off, because of this strap is giving this nice cold shoulder effect here. This gown came out so beautiful. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something from this video. If you did, please make sure to like this video, share with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to leave a comment, ask your questions if you have any. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.